I joked about canceling my wedding. My brother abandoned his pregnant wife, confessed his love for my fiancée, and turned my whole family against me. I guess you could say I accidentally tore my family apart. Let me back up and explain. So, I'm 26 years old, and about 6 months ago, I got engaged to my amazing fiancée, Olivia, who's 25. Olivia and I pretty much grew up side by side. We lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same kindergarten, and were basically glued to each other until we hit high school. We started dating when I was 18 and she was 17. Even though college took us to different cities, we stuck it out long distance for 4 years. As soon as I graduated, I packed my bags and moved to her city. There was no way I was going to spend another minute away from her. I also started building my own business right after moving because the timing just felt right. We lived together while she finished up nursing school, and I put everything I had into getting my business off the ground. It was a grind, but eventually, things started looking up. Around the same time, Olivia wrapped up her nursing degree and landed a job working as a pediatric nurse. After a year of living together, I finally worked up the courage to do something I dreamed about since we were teenagers. I asked her to marry me. And lucky for me, she said yes. Even though we got engaged nearly 2 years ago, we both agreed that we wanted to save up for a place of our own before throwing money into a big wedding. Neither of us cared much for all that fancy wedding stuff anyway. Honestly, life felt perfect, exactly the way I had pictured it when I used to daydream as a kid. We were both doing well financially, and we were even starting to talk about getting married next year and maybe starting a family soon after. Everything was falling into place. I never in a million years thought that a stupid joke, of all things, could blow everything up. But that's exactly what happened last week at a family dinner. It was supposed to be a happy night. My parents had invited Olivia and me over to celebrate their wedding anniversary. My younger sister Kate, my older brother Jake, and his wife Rachel were there too. Quick side note, Jake and Rachel have been married about a year and a half, and they're actually expecting their first baby soon. That detail matters for what's coming. Anyway, we were all sitting around the table, laughing, eating, sipping wine, just enjoying ourselves. At some point, my dad, who's a real goofball, joked and asked Olivia and me if we were ever actually going to get married or if we were just planning to stay engaged forever. Before anyone jumps on him for being rude, I just want to say that my dad absolutely adores Olivia. He's known her since she was a little girl and already thinks of her as family. He was just teasing the way dads do. I laughed, shrugged, and said something like, it's a lot of work, maybe we should just call it off and save ourselves the hassle. I meant it as a harmless joke, just trying to get a few laughs. The truth is, I love Olivia more than anything in the world. I can't wait to marry her. I was just trying to lighten the mood, plus, I was a little buzzed from the wine and didn't realize how badly it might come across. Normally, Olivia's the type who jokes right back at me. But this time, I don't know, maybe it hit wrong. Her face crumpled, and she just burst into tears right there at the table. I felt like the biggest jerk alive. I jumped up right away and tried to apologize, telling her over and over that I was only kidding, that I loved her more than anything, and that I couldn't wait to marry her. I meant every word. But Olivia was heartbroken. She ran off to the bathroom and locked herself in. I tried to follow her, but she wouldn't open the door. I ended up going back to the table, and the mood was absolutely ruined. Nobody touched their food after that. Eventually, my mom and my sister went to talk to Olivia, and they came back to tell me that she needed some space. They said she'd be staying over with them for the night and that I should leave. I apologized to Olivia again before I left, feeling lower than dirt. Hurting her was the last thing I ever wanted to do. She's the love of my life. When I got home, I sent her a long, heartfelt text, pouring my heart out, apologizing again, and promising her that nothing like that would ever happen again. I had so much faith in our relationship. I figured, yeah, it might take a little time, but we'd work through this. I went to bed that night honestly believing that by morning, things would start to get better. Man, if only I knew how wrong I was. That night, I stayed up pretty late tossing and turning, and when I finally woke up the next morning, it was already late. First thing I did was reach for my phone, but it was dead. I'd forgotten to plug it in the night before. My stomach dropped. I raced to plug it in, panicking, thinking I might have missed a text or a call from Olivia. As soon as it powered back up, my heart just about stopped. There were dozens of missed calls and texts, not just from Olivia, but from my mom, my dad, my sister, and even my sister-in-law. Terrified, I called Olivia right away, but she didn't answer. So I called my mom. She picked up immediately and she was practically yelling at me, asking where the hell I'd been and why I hadn't answered. I tried to explain about my dead phone, but she cut me off, telling me to stop wasting time and just get home now. I don't think I've ever driven that fast in my life. I kept trying to call Olivia, but she still wouldn't pick up. My mind kept racing with worst-case scenarios. It was the most stressful 15 minutes I've ever lived. When I pulled up to the house, I could already hear people screaming inside. It felt like someone punched me right in the chest. I ran inside, following the noise into the kitchen. Everyone was there. Olivia looked absolutely wrecked, and my mom was yelling like I'd never heard her yell before. My sister spotted me first and told everyone I had arrived. The second my mom and Olivia saw me, it was like the floodgates burst open, both of them just lost it. My mom started screaming at me, saying that my stupidity had ruined our family forever. I was stunned. I had no idea what was happening. I turned to my sister, begging her to tell me what was going on. She just shook her head and said, "You should probably ask your fiancé." It threw me off because my mom had always called Olivia Livy, using fiancé all formal like that. It didn't sound right. I looked at Olivia, my heart pounding, and begged her, "Please, Liv, just tell me what's going on." Olivia told me we needed to talk somewhere private. By then, my mom had already stormed out of the kitchen, so Olivia and I headed into my bedroom to sit down and figure things out. At this point, I was a complete wreck, practically begging her to tell me what the hell was going on. She asked me to calm down and just listen, but honestly, calming down wasn't even an option anymore. I told her to just go ahead and tell me everything. She took a deep breath and started explaining. She said that earlier that morning, she heard a knock on the door. When she opened it, she was surprised to see my brother standing there. He told her he needed to talk about something important and asked if they could speak privately. Olivia didn't think much of it. She figured maybe he needed to vent or ask for advice, so she agreed, and they decided to take a walk around the neighborhood. That's when things really went sideways. They had barely made it around the corner when my brother asked her how she was feeling after the family dinner the night before. Olivia told him she was okay, just a little emotional, and that she had already tried to call me, but my phone was off. She said her plan was to eat breakfast and then head back home to me. My brother stared at her for a while, and then, out of nowhere, he started saying crazy stuff like how he'd been watching us for years and thought I didn't treat her the way she deserved. He told her she should be with someone who truly respected and valued her time, not someone like me. Olivia said she got uncomfortable right away and tried to defend me, telling him that I'm just a goofball sometimes, but that I loved her and would never intentionally hurt her. But he cut her off and said she didn't have to pretend anymore. He told her point-blank that he had been in love with her for years, that he had always secretly hoped Olivia and I would break up so he could get his chance. He said the only reason he even married his wife was because Olivia and I got engaged. At first, Olivia thought he was joking. She actually laughed and asked him to cut it out, even wondering if I had put him up to it as some weird prank. But when she realized he was dead serious, she said she was absolutely horrified. And just to make things even worse, my brother told her he wanted her to really think about leaving me for him. He promised he would marry her right away, no long engagement like I had made her go through. He even said he had already left his wife, he'd packed his things and everything, and that they could run off together and start a brand new life. Naturally, Olivia was disgusted. She told him off right there, called him a monster for betraying his pregnant wife, and stormed away. She came back to my parents' house to grab her things and say a quick goodbye before heading home to me. She hadn't planned on telling anyone what happened. But it was already too late for that. When she walked back inside, guess who she ran into? My sister-in-law. She was in tears, absolutely hysterical, and when she spotted Olivia, she lost it, tried to lunge at her and had to be physically held back by my sister. It was complete chaos. Turns out, earlier that morning, my sister-in-law had woken up to find my brother gone. When she searched their apartment, she found a note he'd left on the bedside table. In it, he apologized and said he couldn't go on living a lie anymore, that he had to leave because this was his only chance to be with Olivia before it was too late. He had even packed up some clothes and personal stuff before sneaking out. Understandably, my sister-in-law was absolutely heartbroken. She tried calling him, but realized he had blocked her. In a panic, she came to my parents' house looking for him, only to walk straight into Olivia, and well, you can imagine how that went. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of accusations. Olivia got called a homewrecker and worse. My mom, incredibly embarrassed, ended up taking her anger out on both Olivia and me. My dad tried to calm things down, but my mom snapped at him, telling him to stay out of it. Everyone kept trying to reach me, but of course, my phone was dead at the worst possible time. By the time I was finally on my way home, my sister-in-law had left, swearing she would never forgive our family, saying it was because of us that she was now going to have to raise her baby alone. Meanwhile, they had tried calling my brother too, but he wasn't picking up for anyone. When Olivia finally finished telling me all of this, I just sat there in complete shock. I couldn't even wrap my head around it. Honestly, I still don't think I've fully processed it. She told me she had tried to explain to everyone that she had no idea this was coming, that my brother had never said anything like that before. And I believe her. I believe her 100%. I felt completely betrayed by my brother. But honestly, I was even angrier at my mom and sister for turning on Olivia like she had done something wrong. I mean, I get that my sister-in-law was hurt and acting irrational, she's pregnant and heartbroken, but my mom and sister had no excuse for blaming Olivia when she had been blindsided just like the rest of us. I apologized to Olivia over and over for what she had been dragged into and for not getting home sooner to stand up for her. I told her to go wait in the car while I had it out with my mom and sister. While she waited outside, I went back inside and tried to talk some sense into them. But my mom was still acting like I was the villain in all this. She said that none of this would have happened if I had just kept my mouth shut at dinner and not joked about calling off the wedding. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I mean, seriously, anyone with half a brain could tell it was a joke. And even if my comment had been dumb, how the hell was that an excuse for what my brother did? No matter how you slice it, he was the one who completely shattered everything, not me, not Olivia. I told my mom straight up that she owed Olivia an apology, none of this mess was her fault, and she deserved to be treated with basic respect. But instead of seeing reason, my mom just got angrier. She snapped at me, saying she would never say a kind word to Olivia again, accusing her of luring my brother away and being a homewrecker. I was stunned. I told her she needed to take that back immediately, but then my sister chimed in too. She said there was no way my brother would have just acted like that out of nowhere, that Olivia had to have been sending him signals, making him think she wasn't happy with me. Otherwise, why would he be bold enough to leave his pregnant wife? Then my mom threw even more blame around, saying that Olivia and I had ruined this family, that we had destroyed her chance of becoming a grandma, since my sister-in-law had sworn she would never let anyone from our family near her or her baby again. I tried, one more time, to defend Olivia and talk some sense into them. But they just doubled down. They told me to get out, that I wasn't welcome in their house anymore. At that point, I was beyond furious at their stupidity and cruelty. So I left. I drove home with Olivia, both of us completely crushed and not really knowing what to do next. Since then, I've been stuck in this awful loop, questioning everything. The things my mom and sister said keep replaying in my head, and honestly, I don't even know what to believe anymore. I'm just hoping that, eventually, my mom and sister will come to their senses and realize they're blaming the only person in this mess who's completely innocent. I tried reaching out a few times, but my dad finally told me that none of them, not my mom, not my sister, not even my sister-in-law, want to speak to me or Olivia anymore. All because I made a stupid joke. Update 1. First off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who supported me and reassured me that I didn't actually do anything wrong at that dinner party. Some of you asked why Olivia reacted the way she did after my joke, so I'll explain, but only after checking with Olivia first if she was okay with me sharing. She said she was. Also, yes, she's forgiven me for the joke. I told her that I know I acted like a complete idiot, and I promised her that I would never say anything like that ever again. Our relationship is strong as ever, and even though this whole situation has been brutal, I know we're going to get through it together. So here's the deal. Even though Olivia and I had talked about staying engaged for a while so we could focus on bigger goals like buying our first house, she had started feeling a little insecure about the whole thing. A couple months back, she overheard some of her coworkers gossiping about her being permanently engaged, and it really got under her skin. She didn't tell me about it because she didn't want to seem unreasonable, and she knew if she brought it up, I'd probably drop everything and rush to marry her right away. In her mind, she knew waiting was the smart, financially responsible choice. She trusted me completely. But still, it hurt. So by the time my dad made that little joke at dinner about us being engaged forever, she was already a little sensitive about it even though she kept her cool. When I made that dumb joke, it was like pouring salt on an open wound. She felt embarrassed and humiliated, and it dragged her right back to that day at work when she heard people laughing behind her back. I had no idea. I honestly feel awful that I didn't notice she was struggling with those feelings. After we talked everything through, we decided that instead of waiting any longer, we're going to have a small ceremony sometime in the next 6 months. We had originally dreamed of a nice big beach wedding after we bought our house, but honestly, after everything that's happened, we just want to be married and move forward with our lives. Planning some huge events sounds exhausting right now anyway, but as long as I have her by my side, I know I'll be okay. Also, for those wondering why she stayed at my parents' house after the dinner instead of coming straight home, you have to understand, Olivia has been like part of the family forever. She basically grew up in that house, spent countless hours there, and my old childhood bedroom has always been like a second home to her. Before that night, if you had told me that my mom and sister would turn on her the way they did, I would have said you were crazy. This whole situation has been heartbreaking. It's made me question everything I thought I knew about my family. I'm scared for what the future looks like. My family isn't speaking to me, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around what my brother did. Speaking of him, by the way, he hasn't reached out to Olivia since that day. He's also dodging my calls like crazy. I have no idea where he is. I've asked my family about him, but they refuse to talk to me about anything. My dad's been trying to stay neutral, but he doesn't want to make my mom even more upset. She's apparently a complete wreck over the thought of missing out on being part of her first grandchild's life. My parents did try to reach out to my sister-in-law, but she made it very clear she wants absolutely nothing to do with any of them. Honestly, if you gave me a million guesses, I never would have seen this coming, that my own brother had feelings for Olivia. He's 4 years older than me. When we were kids, it was always the three of us running around together. Olivia and I were best friends forever, and we only started dating during my senior year of high school. Meanwhile, my brother was always popular with girls. He had a ton of girlfriends over the years, some serious, some casual. If he had feelings for Olivia, he had plenty of opportunities to say something, but he never did. In fact, during our long-distance phase, Olivia and I actually broke up for almost a year, and even then, he didn't make a move. So how he suddenly decided to pull this stunt out of nowhere is beyond me. I feel absolutely awful for what he did to my sister-in-law. Both Olivia and I have tried reaching out to her to explain that none of this was her fault, and that Olivia had no idea about my brother's feelings. But she won't talk to us. After a few days of trying, we decided to respect her wishes and leave her alone. I honestly don't know how to fix any of this. All I know is that Olivia deserves an apology from my family. And she deserves better than what they put her through. After everything Olivia had to go through because of my family, I made a promise to myself she will get the apology she deserves. But for now, Olivia and I agreed that it's probably best to let things cool off a bit before starting any more fights. We needed to catch our breath. Update 2. Hey everyone, sorry it took me so long to post another update. Honestly, things have been so stressful lately, and I just wasn't in the right headspace to sit down and write. I appreciate you all for being so patient while I figure my crazy life out. And believe me, I can hardly believe what I'm about to tell you. My brother went back to his wife. Yup. After all the chaos he caused, he showed up at their house a few weeks later, falling all over himself, begging my sister-in-law to take him back. He said he wasn't thinking straight that day, blamed everything on Olivia, claimed she'd been giving him hints for years, and he just snapped. It's an absolute joke, and I have no clue how anyone could believe it, but somehow, my sister-in-law did. She decided to forgive him. And that's not even the craziest part. The real reason I'm writing this update is because of what happened next with my family. See, my sister-in-law didn't want to be part of the family anymore. She told my brother that if he wanted her and the baby in his life, he needed to move far away and cut ties with the rest of us. But my brother, being the charming manipulator he is, talked her down with one condition. She agreed to let my parents and sister be part of the baby's life, but only if they completely cut me and Olivia out, forever. In her eyes, that was fair, because we were the ones who caused her so much pain. So my brother took this condition straight to my parents. And, in the worst gut punch of my life, they agreed. They chose him and their future grandchild over me. My mom and sister completely cut me off. It was my dad who came to my apartment to break the news. I tried to defend myself and Olivia, tried to make him see how unfair this was. But he just shook his head and said it was better to let things go, that stirring it up would only make things worse. I can't even put into words how disappointed I am in them. It happened just days after my last update, and ever since, Olivia and I have been going through a really rough patch. No matter how many times I reassure her that none of this is her fault, she still feels guilty for me losing my family. But honestly, I don't even care about that anymore. I'm more angry than anything, angry that they had the nerve to be so spineless and pick the absolute worst side. I've been trying to move on, but if I'm being real, it's not easy. I even started thinking about getting revenge somehow, even though Olivia keeps telling me it's not worth it. Maybe I'll come up with something, who knows. At the very least, I want to teach my brother a lesson. Update 3. Alright, you guys, I have an interesting update for you. Like I said in my last post, Olivia and I have been struggling with everything that's happened. It's obvious to us now that my brother only crawled back to his wife because he realized Olivia would never, ever choose him. We don't blame my sister-in-law, she must have been terrified thinking about raising a baby alone. But still, none of it was fair to her. So, in the middle of all this chaos, Olivia and I came up with a daring plan to finally expose my brother for the creep he really is. It was risky, but honestly, we had nothing left to lose. Nobody was on our side anymore anyway. The idea was simple: Olivia would pretend to have second thoughts about me and lure my brother into a trap. If he really had changed, he wouldn't fall for it. But if he hadn't, well, he would show his true colors. The biggest risk was that he might catch on and spin the story, blaming Olivia all over again. But like I said, we were already cast as the villains, so whatever. We were both nervous as hell, but Olivia was determined. The plan was for her to show up at my brother's workplace during lunch, tell him she made a mistake, and invite him to a restaurant to talk about their future. My job was to get my sister-in-law to that same restaurant so she could see the truth for herself. I wasn't sure if she'd even agree to meet me, but surprisingly, she did. Maybe deep down, she had her own doubts about him. We went all out. Olivia even took off her engagement ring to make it look convincing. As expected, the second he saw her no ring, tears in her eyes, he folded like a house of cards. She told him she had been scared to admit her feelings but was ready now. He completely bought it. We all met at the restaurant. Olivia walked in with my brother, pretending to be emotional. Then my sister-in-law stormed over and confronted him right there, screaming, crying, and throwing a drink in his face. It was glorious. My brother looked like he was living his worst nightmare. He turned on Olivia, yelling and blaming her, but that's when I stepped in. I'd had enough of his crap. I gave him a good, solid punch, something he honestly deserved a long time ago. We left the restaurant, me, Olivia, and my sister-in-law, and drove straight to my parents' house. There, we laid out everything. At first, my mom was in complete disbelief, but eventually, she broke down crying. She apologized to both Olivia and me, truly apologized. My sister did too. And honestly, I'm so grateful to say that I finally have my family back. As for my brother, he's been completely cut off. We made it clear that he is not welcome anymore. But my sister-in-law and their future baby will always be part of the family. My sister-in-law is an amazing woman, and she deserves to be loved and cherished. I have no doubt she'll find someone who treats her right one day. Olivia and I have promised her that we'll be there for her and the baby, no matter what. She's still pretty shaken up, honestly, we all are. But I really do believe that, in time, we'll all heal. And we'll be stronger for it.